Welcome to our deep dive today. We're tackling efficient AI integration. And we've got, well, let's just say we have an interesting mix of sources for this one.
Oh, is that putting it lightly?
Maybe. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives fun, right?
Right. Always up for a challenge.
Exactly. So first up, we've got this, well, it's a Portuguese article. The title, and I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly, is Artigo Framework Integração Eficiente de IA Generativa Setembro 2024.
Ambitious.
Right. September 2024. I mean, that's cutting edge, even if we don't know exactly what it says yet.
Always exciting to see what the future holds.
Exactly. Then we've got Framework IA. Short and sweet, to the point.
No messing around.
Right. Just get to the good stuff. Tell me what this AI framework is all about. And finally, for our last source, we have Relato de Experiencia Construção de IM.
Someone's got experience. Hands-on.
That's what it looks like. Didn't even finish the title. They were too busy building something with AI, I guess.
That's the good stuff, though. Real-world experience. Always valuable.
Exactly. Balances out all the theoretical frameworks. So we got those. We got someone actually using AI. Should be a good deep dive. So this Portuguese article, one of the lines that really stuck out even before the translation was, and I'm quoting here, the integration of artificial intelligence, especially generative AI, is not just a technological challenge, but a strategic and human one.
Interesting. Right off the bat, the human element.
Right. It's not just about the tech. It's about us, how we work, how we think, everything. And then they go on about this whole phased approach. Start small, experiment, pilot projects, before you go full-blown AI integration.
Dipping your toes in the water first. Makes sense.
Yeah, right. Don't just dive in head first. What are your thoughts on that? Especially considering the other stuff we've got here.
Well, I mean, it's like you need a roadmap, not just, okay, we're doing AI now.
Exactly. And this phased approach, it's like, okay, so the Portuguese article, it talks about this too. This whole idea of you have to keep checking, keep evaluating, always be adapting.
Continuous improvement. You can't just set it and forget it.
Exactly, especially with AI, right?
Yeah.
Everything's changing so fast.
Yeah.
And speaking of changing, something else that's interesting about the Portuguese article is how much it focuses on generative AI.
Which, just as a reminder to everyone, isn't just about analyzing data that's already there. It's AI that creates new stuff.
Right, like text, code, music, who knows what else. It's pretty wild.
It really is a game changer.
Totally. And I think that's where having a really solid integration plan is even more important.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough to just have this amazing AI. You have to know what to do with it.
You need the strategy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that actually makes me think of our second document, Framework IA. Because that one seems to be all about the strategy, the key things you need to think about if you want to make AI integration work.
The essential ingredients.
Right. What were your first impressions?
Well, I like a good framework, and this one really breaks it down. It's all about, first and foremost, data strategy.
Which, I mean, that makes sense. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. You can have the most advanced AI in the world, but if you're feeding it bad data, you're basically setting yourself up for failure, yeah?
Exactly. And then, so this Framework IA, it doesn't just stop at data. It's also about having the right infrastructure, the right tools.
The foundation has to be there.
Right. It's like you can't build a skyscraper on a foundation meant for a house. And that actually kind of brings us to our last document, the experience report, right?
Yeah.
Where someone actually tried to build something with AI.
Putting theory into practice.
Exactly. So they were trying to build a customer service chatbot, which, pretty common use of AI these days.
Right. You see them everywhere.
Everywhere. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems simple enough, right? But it sounds like they ran into a pretty big obstacle right away.
Oh, yeah. What happened?
Data.
Figures.
Right. It's always the data. So it turns out their customer data was, well, a mess. All over the place. Different systems, bad labeling, just, ugh.
A nightmare.
So what did they do? Well, they had to press pause on the whole chatbot thing because they realized that they had to fix the data first.
Always a good lesson to learn. Sometimes you have to take a step back before you can move forward.
Right, exactly. So, but data problems aside, it sounds like that wasn't the only thing they learned.
Yeah. What else?
So, eventually they cleaned up the data, everything's good, they get the chatbot up and running, and it's fine for really basic stuff.
Okay. Handling the simple questions.
Exactly. But anything even slightly complicated, anything that required even a little bit of nuance, the chatbot just fell apart.
Couldn't quite handle the curveballs.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And what they realized was sometimes you just need a human. There are still things that humans are better at than AI.
At least for now.
Right, exactly. So their big takeaway was it's all about finding the right balance between the AI and the human.
Making them work together.
Exactly. Which I think is a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Because we've got these frameworks, right? These big ideas about AI integration.
The strategic roadmap.
Exactly. But then we've also got this real-world example of like, okay, but how does that actually play out? What does that actually look like in practice?
The nitty-gritty.
Exactly. And I think if there's one thing that our listeners should take away from all of this, it's that AI integration. It's not easy. It's not just about buying some software and, plugging it in. It really is a process.
It's a journey.
Exactly. And it's one that requires careful planning and the right tools and really, most importantly, I think, just being aware of both the potential of AI, but also its limitations.
And never being afraid to adapt and adjust along the way.
Exactly.